Hello, in this video I'm going to be talking around the 5 main reasons why you should think about introducing an arch into your bench press setup. The first reason is you're going to lock in the shoulder position in a manner that means you're going to load muscles that are designed to produce movement. Now, all muscles are designed to produce movement. However, some muscles are designed to produce a lot of force, while other muscles are more involved in stability, articulation, and more general types of movement. So in the bench press, we're going to be utilizing our shoulders and elbows to move the bar. Now, when we set up an arch, two of the primary things we do is we bring the rib cage up, and then we bring the shoulders back and down and hold the shoulder blades together. What this does is it locks the humerus in a plane of movement. It'll lock the elbow in a plane of movement. But what we're particularly concerned around when it comes to setting this position of having the chest up, shoulders back and down, hold the shoulder blades together, is we're holding the shoulder joint in place, so it's locked in place. Now, it has freedoms of movement. It's a ball and socket joint, but by producing that extension, bringing the chest up, bringing the shoulder blades back and down, and holding the shoulder blades in place by pinching them together and holding that position, we are limiting the freedom of movement around the shoulder joint, locking it into a plane that is actually more beneficial for bench press because it's stronger. But what we are mainly doing, and one of the first reasons we want to lock into this position, is when we lock into this position, we can only move in this plane of movement. If I don't lock into this position, my scaps can move, my shoulders can move, I can move here, I can move here, I can move in a whole bunch of ways. That's going to promote loading of the rotator cuffs. And the rotator cuffs are probably the primary issue you're going to get around the shoulder when it comes to bench press training. So to take the load off the rotator cuffs and to place it on the chest, the tricep, and the lat, and the delt, we want to promote that first position. So the first thing we want to do, or the first reason why we want to promote having an arch while producing bench press or doing bench press, is to lock the shoulder in position. The second reason we want to promote an arch is, again, related to the shoulder joint, related to the rotator cuffs. When we fix our position here, so when we grab hold of a bar, we have a certain amount of internal rotation at the shoulder. And when we come down to the chest, what happens is we stay in that internal rotation, but then the elbow travels past the body. And as the elbow travels past the body, it causes a bit of an impingement. So ideally, if I was bringing my elbows past my body, I want to produce an external rotation. I want to turn my hand like that, and I can do this. When I do this, it's perfectly fine. I feel absolutely no problem with the shoulder. It feels quite comfortable. However, if you follow along and do this, where we have a thumb down, produce internal rotation, and then come past the body, you'll feel a stretching at the front of the shoulder. Now, although we are neutral in the grip when we hold on to a bench or when we hold on to a barbell, we produce internal rotation, a certain amount of internal rotation at the shoulder, and as we come past that position, we put load on the posterior capsule and on the rotator cuff as we do that. When we introduce the arch into the bench press, so when I chest up, shoulders back and down, I reduce the amount of travel. So there still is some travel, so there's still going to be some loading of the posterior capsule, some loading of the rotator cuff, and one of the primary reasons you'd want to use the arch in bench press, although it does help to improve performance, it's going to really help to reduce the amount of load placed on the rotator cuffs, and it's really going to help promote shoulder health. So the second reason, it's going to help reduce that travel past the body, so it's going to produce less load on the posterior capsule and on the rotator cuff, making it a bit more of a shoulder-friendly exercise. Reason 3 It's going to help promote external rotation at the shoulder. So as we discussed in the previous point, when we produce an internal rotation and the elbow travels past the body, it's going to produce an increased load on the posterior capsule. It isn't going to be that healthy for the shoulder joint. So the cues that we've been talking about in the first 2 points, chest up, shoulders back and down, lock the scapula in place. If you feel what that does, so if I start with my thumbs here, like this, and then I do my cues, chest up, shoulders back and down, elbows tucked, you can see I went to more of a neutral position. That's because I'm promoting decompression and retraction. Decompression and retraction is going to produce a torque or an external rotation at the shoulder. So promoting external rotation at the shoulder and also lifting the arch up, you're going to get a 2 for effect or a 3 for effect. So part 3 is again on this shoulder health thing. We're fixing everything in place so we can only move in one line, which is going to be more efficient for our technique. It means we're putting our training in the same bar path, which means we're more efficient, getting stronger at that bar path, but also means we're locking down the shoulder joint. So we're loading tricep, chest and lat and shoulder, not loading the rotator cuff. We're stopping travel of the elbow past the body, so that's going to promote shoulder health. But also we're producing a bit more of an external rotation around the shoulder instead of a neutral, which is going to be more of an internal rotation. And when we're moving into this plane, we want to have some kind of external rotation. So if I was using dumbbells, I'd press them like this because it feels good on the shoulders. I wouldn't press them like this because it feels like shit. However, when we use a barbell, especially if we're a powerlifter in competition, and we don't really have the option of benching with more of this kind of grip, then doing this chest up, shoulders back and down, shoulder blades together and hold, it's going to promote shoulder health through 3 main planes of action. Okay, reason number 4, it's going to help promote thoracic extension when I lie down on the bench. So when I lie down on the bench, if I don't produce thoracic extension, if I just take the bar out and I still produce my cues of shoulders back and down, shoulder blades together, I'm still lying flat, and it's not as like, one, the range isn't as cut off as we were talking about beforehand. 2, I'm not really feeling the same kind of external rotation that I'm looking for when I set up. So if I get my chest up first, chest up, bring the bar out, shoulders back and down, shoulder blades together and pinch together from this position, I'm cutting off the range more, but also it feels more compact, feels stronger, and it feels like I can do more of reason number 5. Reason number 5 is that it's going to promote a better ground reaction force. So the bench press is a kinetic chain. That kinetic chain starts at the feet and ends at the shoulders. So when I try to utilize a leg drive, all I'm doing is I'm pushing into the floor with my feet, helping to increase the ground reaction force. If I'm doing that in the correct manner, I should be pushing into the floor and up the bench, and that's going to travel up the kinetic chain from your feet, through your knees, through your hips, through your spine, and into the floor via the bench and via your shoulders. So if I have that extended position through my thoracic here, it's much easier for me to connect my feet to the bar as I push up the chain into my shoulders and press without the arch. So if I don't bring my chest up and I just set my shoulders the way I would, but try and not arch, keep my back flat, it's way more difficult to create that kinetic chain. So it means that we reduce our capacity to produce ground reaction force in the movement, and as we've discussed at length in the past few videos, if you reduce your capacity for ground reaction force, you reduce your capacity to lift weight. If you reduce your capacity to lift weight, you are reducing your performance in the sport of powerlifting. So those are the 5 reasons, main reasons I think, that you should look to introduce an arch into your bench press, regardless of your goal. If it's bodybuilding, powerlifting, strongman, athletics, these are all aspects that are going to promote shoulder health and help to improve performance, both of which are going to be really useful when you utilize a straight bar. If you're lifting for reasons outside of powerlifting, for sports, for throwing, say, strongman, you might want to look at using a specialty bar that allows more of this grip, because it's going to be more conducive to a healthy shoulder. If you're bodybuilding, then you want to use a mixture of implements anyway. Flat barbell is just a tool in the arsenal. Dumbbells, specialty bars, machines, cables are all going to really help when it comes to kind of like bodybuilding or hypertrophy-centric movements. If you're a powerlifter, these are things you should be doing anyway. When it comes to increasing the level of the arch, that's primarily to reduce the travel of the barbell, which makes the movement more efficient. So as a powerlifter, it should be definitely something that you should be looking to exploit in your setup, because it's going to help to improve your performance. And at the end of the day, that's what it's about. Increasing your total and winning meets, unless your point's to have fun, in which case, just have fun. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. Like and subscribe if you liked it. If you didn't, go fuck yourself. Bye.